Most people think their biggest problem is money. But the truth is, you can earn money again. You can never earn time again. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a truth that most people avoid because it makes them uncomfortable. You are not broke because of money. You are broke because of how you use time. Every person in this room has the same 24 hours as the most successful people on the planet. Same clock, same minutes, same seconds. The difference is not time. The difference is decisions. You see, time is the only currency you spend without realizing the price. You don't feel time leaving your life, but it is quietly, constantly, permanently. And here's the brutal reality. Most people don't waste time intentionally. They waste it unconsciously, scrolling without purpose, talking without direction, planning without execution, dreaming without discipline, busy but broke, active but stuck. Now listen closely. The 1% don't work harder. They work clearer. They don't ask, what should I do today? They ask, what is the highest value use of my time right now? Because not all hours are created equal. One focused hour beats 10 distracted hours. One intentional decision beats 1,000 emotional ones. The average person trades time for comfort. The 1% trades time for results. They understand something powerful. Every moment you spend is an investment. And investments only do two things. They either compound or cost. If what you're doing today doesn't move you closer to who you want to become tomorrow, it's not neutral. It's expensive. Clarity changes everything. When your purpose is clear, procrastination disappears. When your vision is strong, distractions look weak. When your standards rise, excuses fall apart. The 1% don't wait to feel motivated. They move first and motivation follows. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, does this align with my future? Comfort asks for now. Discipline asks for later. Success always chooses later. So let me challenge you. Stop asking how to manage time. You don't manage time. You manage priorities. Decide what matters. Eliminate what doesn't. Execute without apology. Because one day, sooner than you think, time will stop asking for permission. And the life you built or failed to build will be the receipt. Be different. Be intentional. Be that 1% who never wastes time because they understand the value of every second. Time is the only asset you can't earn back. Money can be lost and rebuilt. Opportunities can disappear and return in a different form. Even relationships, when damaged, can sometimes be repaired. But time is different. Once a second passes, it is gone forever. No apology, no effort, no amount of success can bring it back. Every moment that slips away becomes part of the past, untouchable and irreversible. That is what makes time more valuable than anything else you will ever own. Most people treat time as if it is unlimited. They assume there will always be more chances, more days, more years to do what truly matters. So they delay their goals, postpone their growth, and waste hours on things that add no real value to their lives. What they fail to realize is that time is being spent whether they are aware of it or not. Doing nothing is still a decision. Avoiding action is still a choice. And every choice has a cost measured in time. Time does not respond to excuses. It does not care about intentions, emotions, or circumstances. It moves forward at the same pace for everyone. The difference between people who succeed and those who struggle is not talent or luck, but awareness. Successful people understand that every day is a non-renewable resource. They approach time with respect, purpose, and urgency. They ask themselves whether what they are doing right now is worth the minutes of their life they are trading for it. When you exchange time for something meaningless, you are not just losing minutes, you are losing potential. Potential to learn, to grow, to build, to improve, to create a better future. Time invested wisely compounds into skills, confidence, discipline, and results. Time wasted compounds into regret. And regret is often the price people pay when they realize too late how valuable their time truly was. The danger of wasting time is that it rarely feels dangerous in the moment. Distractions feel harmless. Comfort feels deserved. Procrastination feels temporary. But over weeks, months, and years, these small choices accumulate into a life far smaller than what was possible. 1 hour wasted today may seem insignificant, but repeated daily, it becomes years of lost progress. Respecting time means understanding that your life is made of moments, and how you use those moments determines who you become. It means choosing growth over comfort, intention over impulse, and purpose over convenience. When you begin to see time as the most precious asset you own, your standards rise, your focus sharpens, your decisions change. Time is the only asset you can't earn back, which is why every moment deserves intention. How you spend today is how you shape tomorrow, and the future you want is built second by what you choose to do right now. The 1% think in leverage, not effort. Most people are taught that success comes from working harder, longer, and pushing themselves to exhaustion. They believe effort is the ultimate currency, so they trade hours for outcomes and measure their value by how busy they are. The problem with this mindset is simple. Effort has a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day and only so much energy a person can give. Once those limits are reached, progress slows and eventually stops. The 1% understand something fundamentally different. They know that effort is necessary, but it is not the strategy. Leverage is the strategy. Leverage is doing things once that continue to produce results over time. It is using systems, skills, tools, and decisions that multiply impact without requiring equal increases in effort. Instead of asking, how can I work harder? They ask, how can I make this easier, faster, or repeatable? Leverage can take many forms. Knowledge is leverage because one good idea can outperform years of physical labor. Systems are leverage because they create consistency without constant supervision. Technology is leverage because it allows one person to reach thousands or millions. Relationships are leverage because the right connection can open doors that effort alone never could. The 1% intentionally build and use these forms of leverage, while most people rely only on their own time and energy. This is why the 1% appear to progress faster with less visible struggle. They are not avoiding work, they are choosing work that compounds. They invest time upfront to design processes that keep working even when they are not. They focus on skills that scale, decisions that repeat, and actions that produce long-term returns. Where others chase immediate results, they build foundations. Effort-focused thinking keeps people trapped in survival mode. When all success depends on personal effort, rest feels risky, and slowing down feels like failure. Leverage-focused thinking creates freedom. It allows results to grow without constant input. This shift in thinking changes how time is used. Instead of filling every hour with activity, the 1% P. Protect their time and direct it toward high-impact actions. The key difference is perspective. Effort asks, how much can I do today? Leverage asks, what can I build today that pays me back tomorrow? One leads to burnout, the other to sustainability. One keeps you running in place, the other moves you forward even when you pause. The 1% still work hard, but their hard work is strategic. They apply effort where it creates leverage, not where it only creates exhaustion. They know that success is not about doing more things, but about doing the right things in a way that multiplies results. Thinking in leverage requires patience, clarity, and discipline. It often means doing less in the short term so you can gain more in the long term. It means resisting the urge to stay busy and instead focusing on what truly moves the needle. When you adopt this mindset, your effort stops being the limit to your success, and leverage becomes the force that carries you beyond it. Most people are busy, not productive. Their days are full, their schedules are packed, and their minds are constantly occupied, yet their lives remain unchanged. They move from task to task, meeting to meeting, notification to notification, believing that motion equals progress, but activity without direction does not create results. It only creates exhaustion. Being busy gives the illusion of importance, while productivity delivers real outcomes. Busyness is often a form of avoidance. It allows people to feel seaful without facing the harder work of thinking, prioritizing, and making decisive moves. Answering emails, attending unnecessary meetings, scrolling through information, or constantly preparing without executing feels safe. It keeps the mind occupied while protecting it from risk. Productivity, on the other hand, requires clarity. It forces you to decide what truly matters and to ignore everything else, even when ignoring feels uncomfortable. The reason so many people stay busy is because busyness is socially rewarded. People praise long hours, full calendars, and constant availability. Saying I'm busy has become a badge of honor, but being busy does not mean you are effective. You can spend an entire day working and still move nowhere closer to your goals. Productivity is not measured by time spent, but by value created. Productive people think in outcomes, not tasks. They identify the few actions that produce the greatest results and focus their energy there. They understand that not all tasks are equal and that some actions matter far more than others. While busy people try to do everything, productive people deliberately choose what not to do. They protect their focus because they know focus is fragile and distractions are expensive. Distractions are the fuel of busyness. Constant interruptions break concentration and prevent deep work. Each distraction seems small, but together they fragment attention and reduce the quality of effort. Productivity requires uninterrupted time to think, create, and solve meaningful problems. That kind of focus cannot exist in a life driven by constant urgency and reaction. Another reason busyness replaces productivity is fear of stillness. Silence creates space for reflection, and reflection exposes truth. When people slow down, they are forced to confront whether their actions align with their goals. Staying busy avoids that discomfort, but growth lives on the other side of honest evaluation. Productivity begins when you stop reacting and start choosing. Being productive means doing fewer things better. It means measuring success by progress, not pressure. It means ending the day with something completed, something improved, or something moved forward. Productivity creates momentum. Busyness drains it. When you shift from being busy to being productive, your life changes. Your energy increases because your effort has purpose. Your results improve because your actions are intentional. You stop mistaking movement for meaning and start building outcomes that matter. Most people are busy, not productive, because busyness is easy and productivity is discipline. But the moment you choose results over routines, clarity over chaos, and focus over frenzy, you separate yourself from the crowd and begin to operate at a higher level. Clarity kills procrastination because procrastination is rarely about laziness. It is almost always about confusion. When people are unclear about what they want, what to do next, or why something matters, the mind naturally delays action. Uncertainty creates resistance. Resistance creates avoidance. And avoidance disguises itself as procrastination. The moment clarity enters the picture, hesitation loses its power. When goals are vague, the brain struggles to engage. A goal like I want to be successful or I need to do better provides no direction. There is no clear starting point, no defined action, and no measurable outcome. Faced with this ambiguity, the mind looks for comfort instead of progress. Clarity removes that friction by turning abstract desires into specific actions. When you know exactly what needs to be done, starting becomes easier. Procrastination thrives in emotional fog. Doubt, fear, and overthinking feed it. People delay not because they can't act, but because they don't trust their next step. Clarity builds confidence. When the path is defined, fear weakens. You may still feel discomfort, but you no longer feel lost. Action becomes a choice instead of a struggle. Clear priorities also eliminate overwhelm. Many people procrastinate because they try to do too much at once. Their mind is crowded with unfinished tasks and competing responsibilities. This mental overload creates paralysis. Clarity simplifies. It forces you to identify what matters most right now and to ignore everything else. When you reduce your focus to one meaningful task, momentum begins. Clarity also strengthens motivation. When you understand why and act on matters, discipline increases. Purpose fuels persistence. Without clarity of purpose, even simple tasks feel heavy. With clarity, even difficult work feels meaningful. You stop asking whether you feel like doing the work and start asking whether the work aligns with your goals. That shift changes behavior. Another reason clarity destroys procrastination is that it removes the need for constant decision-making. Indecision drains mental energy. When you repeatedly decide what to do next, fatigue sets in and delay follows. Clear plans reduce choices. They create structure that guides action automatically. When decisions are made in advance, execution becomes natural. Clarity also exposes excuses. When your goals are clear and your steps are defined, excuses lose credibility. You can no longer hide behind confusion or delay under the illusion of preparation. You see clearly whether you are acting or avoiding. That awareness alone is often enough to prompt movement. Progress begins with clarity. Not clarity of everything, but clarity of the next step. You don't need to see the entire journey to move forward. You only need to know what to do now. Action creates further clarity, and clarity creates more action. This cycle builds momentum and replaces procrastination with progress. Clarity kills procrastination because it replaces uncertainty with direction. When your mind knows where to go and why it matters, delay becomes unnecessary. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start moving with intention. And once you move, procrastination no longer controls your time or your potential. Every decision is a time investment, whether you recognize it or not. The moment you choose one action over another, you are allocating a portion of your life to that choice. Time is the currency used to pay for every outcome you experience. You spend it when you act, and you also spend it when you delay. There is no way to avoid this exchange. The only question is whether the return on that investment is worth the cost. Most people think of decisions as temporary, but their impact is long-lasting. A small choice made today can influence months or even years of your life. Choosing what to focus on, who to listen to, and how to respond to challenges determines how your time compounds. Some decisions multiply value by creating growth, learning, and progress. Others quietly drain time without producing anything meaningful in return. Time investments are often invisible in the moment. Wasting an hour may feel insignificant, but repeated daily, it becomes a habit. Habits turn into patterns, and patterns shape identity. In the same way, choosing to invest time in learning a skill, improving health, or building discipline may feel slow at first, but over time the return becomes undeniable. What looks small today can become massive through consistency. The danger is that many decisions are made emotionally rather than intentionally. People choose comfort because it feels good now, not because it pays later. They choose distraction because it provides relief, not because it creates results. These decisions may seem harmless, but they carry a hidden cost. Each one consumes time that could have been invested in something that moves life forward. Wise decision-making requires thinking beyond the present moment. It means asking what this choice will produce tomorrow, next month, or next year. Productive people evaluate decisions based on long-term return, not short-term pleasure. They understand that time invested in growth, clarity, and discipline yields compounding benefits, while time invested in avoidance yields stagnation. Every yes is also a no. When you say yes to one activity, you say no to everything else you could have done with that time. This makes decision-making a matter of priority. You cannot invest time everywhere, so you must choose where it matters most. Successful people are selective not because they lack options, but because they understand the cost of distraction. Intentional decisions create alignment. When your choices reflect your goals, time stops feeling wasted. Even difficult work feels worthwhile when you know it is moving you closer to something meaningful. On the other hand, misaligned decisions create frustration because you sense the loss of time without progress. Every decision is a time investment, and time always demands a return. You either receive growth, progress, and fulfillment, or you receive regret, and missed opportunity. When you begin to view your choices through this lens, your standards rise. You become more deliberate, more focused, and more disciplined. Because once you understand the value of time, you stop spending it carelessly and start investing it with intention. Discipline is choosing long-term rewards over short-term comfort. It is the ability to delay immediate pleasure in favor of a future benefit that is often unseen and unrewarded in the moment. Most people understand this idea intellectually, but few practice it consistently. Comfort is seductive because it offers instant relief. Discipline is demanding because it requires patience, effort, and trust in a future outcome that has not yet arrived. Short-term comfort feels good now, but it is expensive later. Skipping the hard task, avoiding discomfort, or choosing ease over effort provides temporary satisfaction, yet it slowly erodes progress. Each time comfort is chosen over discipline, momentum is lost. Over time, these small decisions accumulate into habits that limit growth and potential. Discipline works in the opposite direction. It feels difficult now, but it compounds into strength, confidence, and results. Discipline is not about punishment or restriction. It is about alignment. It means aligning daily actions with long-term goals instead of momentary emotions. Feelings change constantly, but goals require consistency. When actions are guided by emotion, life becomes reactive. When actions are guided by discipline, life becomes intentional. Discipline provides stability in moments when motivation fades. Long-term rewards are built through repeated disciplined choices. Improving skills, building health, creating success, and developing character all require sustained effort over time. There are no shortcuts that bypass discipline without sacrificing quality or longevity. The people who achieve lasting success are not those who avoid discomfort, but those who are willing to endure it temporarily for something greater. Discipline also creates freedom, even though it may not feel that way at first. When you develop disciplined habits, you reduce chaos and increase control. You are no longer at the mercy of impulse or distraction. Your time becomes structured, your energy is focused, and your progress becomes predictable. This freedom is earned, not given. Choosing long-term rewards requires clarity and self-awareness. You must know what you want and why it matters. Without a clear vision, discipline feels like sacrifice without purpose. With clarity, discipline becomes a tool for building the future you desire. You stop seeing discomfort as something to avoid and start seeing it as a necessary investment. Short-term comfort keeps people stuck in cycles of regret. Long-term discipline creates upward movement. The difference between where people are and where they want to be is often found in the choices they make when no one is watching and no immediate reward is offered. Discipline fills that gap. Discipline is choosing long-term rewards over short-term comfort because the future is built in the present. Every disciplined action is a vote for the person you want to become. Over time, these votes accumulate into identity, achievement, and fulfillment. When you choose discipline consistently, comfort eventually follows, not as a goal, but as a byproduct of a life built with intention and purpose. In the end, success is not a mystery, and it is not reserved for a chosen few. It is the predictable result of how you use your time, how you make decisions, and how willing you are to choose discipline over comfort. Time will pass whether you are intentional or careless with it. The difference is what that passing time creates in your life. You now understand that time cannot be recovered, that leverage matters more than effort, that being busy is not the same as being productive, that clarity destroys procrastination, that every decision is an investment, and that discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. These are not ideas meant to inspire you for a moment. They are principles meant to guide your actions every day. The 1% are not extraordinary because of who they are, but because of what they choose consistently. They choose focus over distraction. They choose progress over comfort. They choose long-term vision over short-term relief. And those choices, repeated over time, separate them from the rest. So the question is not whether you have enough time. The question is whether you will respect the time you have. Because the life you want is not built someday. It is built today, in the decisions you make after this moment. Be intentional with your time. Be disciplined in your choices. And commit to becoming the 1% who never waste time because they understand that every second matters.